I know that you are eagerly waiting for the class. And without losing the time, let us start with our class, okay? Today also we are dealing with the teaching aptitude and we are taking only 3 topics today. That is variables of teaching, functions of teaching variables and modes of teaching. So we can see what all the things are coming under the variables of teaching. Variables of teaching, that is the main thing we have to keep in mind. The first thing is when the variable, first one is the teacher. Without teacher, the teaching is not happening there. Next is the student. That is the most important part, or most important part of the variable of the teaching is the student. The teacher and student is always needed. And the environment for that, or the supporting purpose for that, is called the intervening variable. Okay. So the teacher is an independent variable. Why? Because she don't need something from others for this teaching purpose. She's an independent variable. She's standing alone there. Okay. And the student is the person who is dependent on the teacher. The student is dependent on the teacher. Okay. So it is the dependent variable. And intervening variable is the constituent of both the independent as well as the dependent variable. The both this is coming together in the case of intervening variable. That is the teaching aids, the methods, the supporting system, what all the things is there, that all come under this intervening variable. So 3 variables are only there. Independent. Independent means the teacher is always independent. You keep that in mind. And the dependent is the student, and intervening, that is a supporting system. Okay, the aids, the methods, what all the things are using by the teacher is come under the intervening variable. And what is the functions of the teaching variable? That is the next question before us. What is the need for this variable, or how it functions? What is the use of it, or how we can understand it? That is the question before us. So for that, you have to keep the 3 things in mind. Why we need these functions? What is their function? The diagnostic function. Diagnosis, you know what is the meaning of diagnose. You have to find out something. That is a diagnostic function. Then prescriptive function. After diagnosing, you gave some measures for it. That is called prescriptive function. And third is evaluative function. Evaluative means how we are doing it. What is the result of it? Okay, that is what we call evaluative function. So 3 variables are coming under this. One is the diagnostic function, second is prescriptive function, and third is the evaluative function. First is diagnostic function. Diagnostic function is diagnose the entire behavior. Okay, diagnosing the entire behavior means diagnostic function. In this, we diagnose the entire behavior of the student. Okay, the entire behavior of the student. We diagnose how the student is, what age he belongs, or what all things that he needed for the purpose. All these things we are considering on this diagnostic function. Okay. So we consider all these things. Then formulated the educational objectives by considering the age of the student, what material we have to teach them, and what is the purpose of it. We keep some objectives for that. Analyze the content material. That is content material, what we have to teach, that we analyze the material, whether it is appropriate for that age, whether it is related to the subject, whether it is applicable to the student. All these things are we are analyzing that. His own potential of the teacher. The potential of the teacher is needed because without knowledge, the teacher cannot teach the subject. So what is the potential? Whether she is able to teach the class. That is what we have to know. Then strategies make effort. What are the things we have to keep in mind for making that class very effective? So all these things we diagnostic. That is diagnosis in this diagnosis. That is one of the function of the teaching variable. Okay, teaching variable, that is diagnostic function. We have to find the problem areas, or what is the condition, or whatever it is that is for the student. Then we are making the objectives. We analyze it. We have the potential of the teacher is needed, and strategies should be made by the teacher. Then prescriptive function. What is prescriptive function? The content and organize. Prescribing. After finding all these things, we have to give the content. If we are teaching a subject, for example, if I am taking this subject, I should have some content of taking what I have to take you. Okay. So that content should be needed and organize it should be in a proper order. And teaching techniques is needed. There are different techniques for teaching. There is direct method is there, indirect method is there. A lot of methods are for the teaching is there. So the how to find whether we have to teach in Malayalam, whether we have to teach in English, whether we have to take in a simple way. We have to give the pinpoint presentation, proper presentation, that is projective method. What are the things we have to use? That is the prescriptive function we are keeping. Then cooperation of the students, that is the important part. Whether they are, if they are not listening, what is the matter for doing all these things? We are doing all this for the learners, okay, for the students. So if there is no cooperation from the part of the students, there is no need for all these things. So that cooperation of the students is also very important. So three things we have to keep in mind: that the prescriptive functions, it is content, teaching techniques, cooperation of the students. Next is evaluative function, evaluation, that is test. We have to test whether the students is able to understand it. That is, we have to find the observations, interviews. We make some interviews with the students, with the people, or observations we made about it, what the content they are able to read. Students more active, make this, if we evaluate, they become more active because they know that the teacher will ask questions after all this class, so they listen to it. When they ask the questions, when we ask the questions, if we are getting the answers in a proper way, it means that they are listening to the class, they're understanding the matter. Okay, the communication is only fulfilled if the things are understood by the students. So evaluative function is the another function. So three functions is there. One is a diagnostic function, next is prescriptive, and third one is the evaluative function. And next we asked, so that portion is over. So we have studied two things of variables. One is what are the three variables. There is the independent variable is the teacher, dependent variable is the student, then intervening variable, there is supporting variable. Then what is the function of the variables? We see the three things. That is the diagnostic function, prescriptive function, and also last is the evaluative function. Now we are going to another topic. Okay. Another topic, that is the modes of teaching. What are the ways we can teach a student? The mode, different modes of teaching. First one is conditioning, that is behavior teaching. There is conditioning. We are, if a student has done something good, a teacher is giving a chocolate to the student, that the student feel very happy because he has done something good. This will be a motivation for the student to do it again. So we are giving a conditioning to the student. Okay. So conditioning is one of the method of teaching. The next is training. We have seen we dogs are trained, how we are training. As the same way, we can train the students. For example, maths. For the maths, if we give a lot of problems to the students, we are giving a lot of training to the students they are able to do. For the IT sector, for the technical sector, if we are giving more and more training, they will be more and more able to do the things. So it is by the behavior, contact we are giving to the students. Then instruction. Instruction is a direct way of giving the knowledge. Okay, what now I am doing is instruction. Knowledge is giving directly. Okay, it is not conditioning or training. It is a knowledge giving purpose. Indoctrination is a belief. Indoctrination means belief. We are believing something. That is by the culture or something we are getting a certain kinds of knowledge. Okay, so that is called indoctrination. So modes of teaching is of four types. One is conditioning, second is training, third is instruction, and fourth is indoctrination. So conditioning is by behavior, and training is by the conduct, and instruction is by the knowledge is giving, and indoctrination in which we are giving it by the belief. It is coming through the generations. So conditioning, what is I am just giving some of the how it is. It's a small definition for all these things. Okay, that will be helpful for you in your exams. Sometimes they may ask some certain questions from this part, so we have to know about the statement regarding it. Conditioning, how to do or perform an act. Okay, how to do or perform act, that is conditioning. If we are doing something, we are making for the prayer, we are holding the hands together. So we are doing something, we are conditioning something, how to do or perform an act. So that is called conditioning. Okay, training, act to situation or a stimulation. If we are giving a stimulation or situation, we have to act to it according to the situation and how to deal with it. Okay. Then instruction, enrich the knowledge. It is nothing, just giving the knowledge, different knowledge, collecting the knowledge and giving the knowledge. That is what called instruction. Indoctrination is formation of a system or a belief. We know that each and every person there is a system following in your homes. In your home, there is some system is following. It is by the generations they are moving it from one person to another. It's a belief, and it is a kind of knowledge for us. Okay, it is also a kind of learning. Okay, so indoctrination is also a kind of learning. So conditioning is there, training is there, instruction is there, indoctrination is also there. And here we are making a difference between what is teaching and what is conditioning. Okay. In teaching, there is no reinforcement is needed. Teaching, we are directly giving the topic or what we understood to the students, and they're just listening to it. Okay, and nothing is happening there. So there is no need for reinforcement, and a correct curriculum is the for uses from the first standard or LKG or the for the degree classes, whatever the classes it is. There is a curriculum is there. They have to follow some certain things, certain objectives for each and every lessons, each subjects. There is a curriculum. What have to do, what not to do. So, and it is very comprehensive. It is understandable for the age. According to the age group, it is calculated in a very performed way. So teaching have all these things. But in the case of conditioning, the reinforcement is needed. Conditioning, I told you earlier itself. If you want to make a child to do something good, we are congratulating them, we are giving, supporting them, we are giving some special things for them. So we are reinforcing is that repetition. We again and again, if we are doing the same thing, that person is what happens is that he or she has a tendency to do it again and again. Usually, we say that we are doing a activity. For example, if you started doing yoga, okay, if you are doing yoga on one day, somebody appreciate you and you are doing on the second day as like that. If you are doing it for 21 days, it become a habitual nature for you. Okay, it's a kind of conditioning. It's repetition. Try to do the same thing and make you to do adjust or get conditioned to do something. You are brushing. It is from the small classes itself, we know is to clean the teeth. Okay, it's conditioning made us to repeat and do it again and again, but to make us clean. Okay, as the same way. Stimulus response, it's according to the stimulus response. Why to a situation we are getting adjusted and we are repeatedly doing and we are conditioned to it. Fixed curriculum is fixed curriculum in the case of conditioning. Sometimes we need curriculum and sometimes we don't need the curriculum system. So a fixed curriculum is now needed in the case of conditioning. Okay, that is the case of conditioning. Okay, so that is the difference between the teaching and the conditioning. One is making us to do unknowingly, we are getting into something. For example, the discipline inside in the school, it is conditioning. Okay, some schools we see no discipline. It's because there is no conditioning is happening. If somewhere we can see some conditioning is there, so it's happening there. So teaching is both, we can see the reinforcement is the curriculum is the comprehensive understanding is the, and in case of conditioning, reinforcement, repetition, stimulus response, fixed curriculum, all these things are fixed curriculum is no need. Okay. So there is a difference between a teaching and conditioning. So there is some different modes of teaching we have seen. That is different modes we have seen in the previous slide. We have seen that indoctrination is there, conditioning is there, instruction is there. Okay, all this come and one more is there. That is teaching is there. So all these things are happening there. And in this is a small, this is really a small slide. Okay, only we are dealing with variables, the functions of the variables and modes of teaching. I think you are able to get into what I have said to you. You have to go through it. Usually they will ask some questions from variable side. That is the most important part usually we see in the exams. Okay, so you must know what all the variables are. The three variables are there. That is the teacher is there, student is there, and the intervening variable, that is the function we I told you earlier. It's a diagnostic is there, prescriptive is there, evaluation is there. Understood? So that is happening there. And the modes of teaching we have told already. Touch conditioning is there, instruction is there, teaching is there, and indoctrination is there. All these things are coming under the case of the modes of teaching. I think now you are very clear about this section, and study well and prepare well for your exam. All the best for all of you, and have a nice day for all of you.